Welcome into the Lucas and Lucas podcast alongside Lucas Frankel. As always, I'm Mike Lucas. I don't know if it's the Nets, the Yankees, the Jets, or what, but Frankel has moved to a new location to do the podcast today. Hopefully this brings a little better luck to the teams he roots for. But Frank, we have to go back to Saturday night. Game 7, Milwaukee, Brooklyn. The stars had appeared to align for the Nets, and then everything crumbled in front of their face. Kevin Durant hits the shot. We go to overtime. The Nets score first and then don't score again. You texted me after the game, and we said we'll talk the next day. We talked for a little bit. It has now been 48 hours since that conversation. Fill me in, Frank. Where's your head at? Have your emotions changed? And it just sucks. And I'll give you my thoughts after, but the floor is yours here, Frank.
You know, it was so devastating. It's like this ride was supposed to last till the end of July. We were supposed to compete for a championship, and in the blink of an eye, it just ends. It is one of the biggest gut punches I can ever remember in my time rooting for a team. It's like all the joy that I had in my life it's gone. I mean, like, it's almost like sad about how like invested I was in this team. And it's like, I almost like hate myself for it. I hate that I got so hooked and invested and was hanging on my back edge of my seat on every single possession, on every single shot. And to have it end like that, man, it's been a very, very tough pill to swallow. I have a hard time, I don't even want to watch the rest of the playoffs in the NBA. I have zero interest. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see it. I just am in a really, really tough state of mind right now. And it's like, and it shouldn't be like this, but it is. And it's, do you feel the same way? Like, am I crazy here?
No.
Am I overreacting?
No, it was an absolute gut punch. I was more invested in this Nets team than I think I've been invested in any individual team that I've rooted for since probably the 2011 Giants when they went on the playoff run. And what kills me the most, and this is what I'll never get over, and you can't fix it, but what I'll never get over is the Nets were the best team in the league this year, and the only thing that could have derailed them was injuries, and they got hit by the injury bug late. You look at games 5, 6, and 7. Harden comes back. Harden is at best 53% of James Harden, at best. And even with that, he can't do what he does best, which is get in the lane and create for others. Kyrie doesn't play after the middle of game 4. The Nets won game 5 thanks to a historic, heroic performance by Kevin Durant. Jeff Green turned into Steph Curry, but they got nothing from nobody else. Game 6, Milwaukee came back in Milwaukee. The Bucks did what they should have done. Were able to put them away. And then game 7 comes down. They have one guy who can create his own shot in Kevin Durant. James Harden is a warrior. They played so hard, but they were so close by being at 70% of what the team should have been, maybe 60%. And that's what frustrates me, is that they were that much better than Milwaukee healthy, and they just couldn't stay healthy for whatever reason, for whatever period. Stephen A. Smith called it karma.
Oh, my God.
That is his worst take ever, his single worst take ever. I almost like, usually I scroll through Stephen A. stuff because it's not worth getting angry about, but that one kind of made me, kind of lit a fire in me. Like, the hell are you talking about, Stephen A.? Like, shut up. They got hurt. It's not karma they got hurt. It's bad luck. And the biggest gut punch to me is that this championship should be Brooklyn's. And there's no asterisk. Whoever wins it will win it fair and square. But Brooklyn was the best team in the league, and the Lakers were the second best team, and they both could not stay healthy in the postseason for whatever reason, and that's what hurts the most, Frank.
The takes that I've seen, and you mentioned Stephen A., which just made me want to throw my window through the wall. I can't take them. I don't want to hear them. I don't even want to hear what anyone has to say about it, because it's not worth my time. But I literally made a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 what ifs that would have changed the Nets' fortunes in this series. There's 7 different things. And you probably even go further down the list of things that if this would have happened, then Nets win.
Let me hear.
First one right off the bat. James Harden pulls his hamstring 43 seconds into game 1. If James Harden does not get hurt, this series is over in
5 games.
In 4 or 5 games, and without hesitation.
What's that? As you go through the rest of the list, Frank, give me the point. Let me give because I've not heard this list. Let me give you my immediate reaction to what you say, and then you can fill in the stats, okay?
Number 2 is, what if Giannis doesn't stick his foot under Kyrie as he's landing in game 4 and Kyrie lands like he should have? Then it's a whole different series.
Obviously, that's a second creator back on the floor, and the Nets were up probably 3-1 after the first 4 games of the series if Kyrie doesn't go down.
The third one is, what if Durant's foot was an inch further back on that shot? Because the most frustrating part about that is the arena scoreboard said 110-109. On ESPN.com it said 110-109. So imagine if you're watching on your phone and you're like following like a game cast or whatever. You see Kevin Durant 3-pointer, Nets lead 110-109. And like I could just imagine me doing that, and because I can't watch the game somewhere and losing my mind. Oh my God, Kevin Durant. And then, because in real time, I knew it wasn't a 3. There was, my reaction in the moment was, it was the most conflicting range of emotions I could ever remember having, because it went like, okay, we have overtime, but oh my God, we were that close. Like we had it won, we were that close, and I couldn't allow myself to even get excited about the shot because I knew it was a 2. And man, if his foot was just a freaking inch further back, an inch, Mike, a freaking inch. We're playing the Hawks tomorrow night, and man, we're going to steamroll them into the championship. Oh, that Durant one, that's the third one, out of all these, most painful.
You nailed it. What's number 4?
Number 4 is, what if Nash called a timeout as Durant was getting set to shoot? Obviously, like in the moment, I was screaming at the TV, timeout. Just the way they were bringing the ball up the court, I didn't like the hot potato that I was seeing. I just felt like we should not. Right, it may not have mattered, but at least it would have given me time to like think about it more, time to breathe.
And even more than that, Frank. No matter what they did, the play was going to be KD ISO from that spot. But at least if now the timeout, it gave KD 90 seconds to sit down and just catch his breath. I mean, both teams were running on absolute fumes by the end of overtime. So any break, I think, would have been beneficial. And Drew Holiday said his shot in overtime was online. It was just short. Maybe that 90 seconds gives him the rejuvenation in his legs he needs. I agree. It's easy to say in hindsight, but I agree with you, Frank. I wanted Steve Nash to call a timeout there. I didn't even realize they had a timeout as it was unfolding. And then when it went out of bounds and I saw 0.3 seconds, they still had a timeout. They didn't call it. They had it. I'm looking around like what just happened. I would have called timeout as well.
I just didn't like what I was seeing as they were bringing the ball up the court. And whenever I don't see something I like, I'm just like, let's just get set here, get on the same page, and go from there. Next one. What if the Nets just decided not to board the plane to Milwaukee for Game 6? Because that game, they got to within 5 with like 8 minutes to go, and then the Bucks went like a 15-0 run. And I just feel like it was that they should have just punted that game. I said it before the game. I said, don't even board the plane. And who knows how much more fresh Durant and Harden would have been if they would have just, like, not necessarily forfeited the game, because you can't forfeit a playoff game, but if they would have just ran out Chris Chiozza, Tyler Johnson, Alize Johnson, Reggie Perry, and DeAndre Jordan out there for all 48 minutes of Game 6, and just be like, guys, guess what? You're taking one for the team tonight. Go out there, lose by 50. Who gives a crap? And we'll see you on Saturday night for Game 7. That's what I mean. It was never going to happen. There was a 0% chance that was ever going to happen. But I wish they would have just been like, you know what? We don't have Kyrie. James Harden's playing on one leg. Kevin Durant played 49 minutes in Game 5. He's going to have to play 55 minutes in Game 7. Let's just screw this. Like, just take it out here.
I'm with you. So I fully expected to lose Game 6. The thing I would have done, though, and I'm assuming Joe Harris is number 7, right? Joe Harris, if he makes a shot, is number 7.
The next two are, what if Joe Harris doesn't go 1 for 11 in Game 3? And the last one is, what if Joe Harris makes a 3-pointer with 55 seconds to go in Game 7? The Nets win.
Okay. So I'm gonna interject there. In Game 6, I wanted, like, go out, play Kevin, play James to start, and if it's not close, I wanted you to take him out, and I wanted Steve Nash to run every play in the playbook for Joe Harris and Landry Shamet. Just take turns back and forth, hopefully with the goal of getting their confidence back. I mean, shooting such a confidence thing, and Joe Harris clearly had no confidence himself in this series. I mean, he just started missing shots, and it's a rhythm thing. And the one thing I didn't like about how they played game 6 was it didn't seem like even when the game got out of hand, they weren't trying to force feed the ball into some of these role guys' hands who they knew they were going to need to make shots to win game 7. And that's another, I don't want to say a coaching downside of Nash, but I just thought there were opportunities to try and get other guys involved because at some point Kevin Durant can't be your only offensive threat. And you need somebody else out there to try and alleviate some pressure off Durant, who was not only your leading scorer, but he was the only guy getting into the paint and creating for others because Harden wasn't able to push off his left leg due to the hamstring injury. So that Joe Harris, if he makes a shot, the whole series is different. In 2 different games, if he makes shots, the whole series is different. They win. It's not even different. They win the series. And I just would have wished that they tried to get him more involved, tried to get him in a rhythm in a situation where they had the leeway to do so. You know what I mean? Like force feeding him in game 7, not the right move. Force feeding him in game 6 when you're down 13 in the fourth quarter, when you take Durant out, like that is when I think you force feed Joe Harris the ball and just see if he can find a little rhythm.
Everyone's like so quick to like point out, well, Joe Harris didn't have like the same amount of space as he would have had if Kyrie was out there, if Harden was out there, but like he had wide open looks. I don't want to hear about like, oh, he wasn't getting the same looks and that's why he didn't hit it. He was wide open. He was wide. He had so many unbelievable looks at 3 and he just missed.
He just missed. He just couldn't hit a shot. He just couldn't hit a shot. And like game 5, Joe Harris makes that mid-range elbow. I mean, game 3, excuse me. Joe Harris makes that mid-range elbow jumper probably 87 out of 100 times in practice. It's a great look for him. Just missed a shot. The one in overtime, Joe Harris probably made that exact same shot 75 times this year, right? 89. I mean, I don't know how many threes he ended the year with. I don't have the stat in front of me, but he's money from there. And all season, he was the best spot-up shooter in the league, percentage-wise. I mean, the numbers don't lie. He was an elite three-point shooter, and he just kind of lost the touch in this series for one reason or another, and he never was able to refine his groove. And then you look at the other thing, Frank. You look at Ben Simmons, who refuses to shoot. And then you look at Joe Harris, who continues to shoot and just couldn't make a shot. And you have opposite sides of the spectrum. I'd actually rather have Harris continue to shoot and miss than not shoot at all. But it wasn't a lack of effort for Harris. I mean, he played his butt off. He hustled. He did everything he could, within his limits defensively. He just couldn't make a shot, and that's what he's best at. That's what the Nets needed him to do, and he came up short in that aspect of his game.
There was a play in overtime. I swear, I tried to look it up and like rewatch it, but I couldn't find. I didn't try to find it, but whatever. There was a play. James Harden was fouled shooting a 3, right? Wasn't he fouled? But they called it on the floor. I was like, yes, he got fouled shooting a 3 free throws, and then it was a side out of bounds. Or I'm crazy, whatever. Either way, I thought, I was like, damn, because I was expecting to shoot 3 free throws there. And we never got into the bonus in overtime. I just can't, I'll never get over the fact we scored 2 points in overtime at 1 of 12 shooting. 1 of 12 in the most crucial 5-minute stretch of the season. And the Bucks scored one field goal in a 6-minute span from like the last 3 minutes of regulation into the first 4.5 minutes of overtime. They scored one back. I mean, it's just the worst. And now the Stephen A. Karma thing just maybe absurd. Colin Coward was like pointing the Nets lost because they didn't have a bench. That was another bogus take because
they only won game 5 because Jeff Green came off the bench and scored 30 points.
But the Bucks scoring was with 3 guys. They had 9 from Connaughton, but their whole team is 3 guys. They have no one. I mean, Lopez will chip in additional 8 points, but he starts. Either way though, they have 3 guys. They scored 89 out of 114 points in one of the games. All the Bucks have is 3 guys. So don't even get me started with the Nets also didn't have a bench. The Bucks were scoring with 3 guys the entire series. And
can I also say this, Frank? When Harden and Kyrie are out, guys who are on the bench get put in the starting lineup. So yeah, your bench is going to be extra short when 2 of your top 8 guys are out. I mean, you're not, and it's a playoff series of Game 7. You're not going to play the 10th, 11th guy in your roster. I mean, I love Cowherd. That's a horrendous take.
I shut it off. I mean, I just like I said, I have no tolerance for any of these takes because it just riles the crap out of me. I don't want to hear them, and it's like whatever. Moving on. Spencer Dinwiddie was cleared for encore activities on what's today? Today's Tuesday. So he was. Does that mean he would have been back for this series if the Nets would have advanced?
Kyrie?
No, Dinwiddie.
In theory.
I mean, could you imagine? I mean, if we had Dinwiddie,
If we had Dinwiddie, guess who else would be on the bench if? And here's the thing, ready? If Dinwiddie doesn't get hurt this year, when Kyrie goes down, Dinwiddie gets those minutes. When Harden's down, you have Dinwiddie running. It's just they had so many guys, and they were by far the best team. I want to ask you a question, Frank. You mentioned someone earlier that I want to touch on, and you said you hate how you get invested in stuff like this because it hurts so bad. But I think this is actually obviously not losing, but this is the best part of sports.
No, it's not. This is the worst part. I hate it.
No, not losing. Not obviously not losing, but being invested in a team where every game is an event. And throughout, like, this Nets season for me has been the most fun basketball I've been a part of since I think my whole lifetime. I mean, obviously the Nets made it to the finals when we were 10 years old, but this Nets team was fun. And the fact that I feel connected to them in a way I haven't felt connected to a basketball team, it didn't end how we wanted. But can you think of a more enjoyable basketball season than this?
This Nets, I love this Nets team more than any, as you said, more than any other team that I've ever watched in my life. The way Kevin Durant just gutted it out for the whole series, put a team on his back, the hustle and effort from Blake Griffin, Bruce Brown laying it all out there. I mean, these guys laid it all on the freaking line. James Harden playing with a grade 2 hamstring strain that probably would have sidelined, would normally if that happened during the regular season, it's probably like a 2-month injury, gutting it out there and just doing whatever it takes to win. I mean, you can't, as a fan, you can't ask for more from your team. They played so freaking hard with such limited guys that were out there, and they should have pulled it off. And if they would have just won that one game, they probably would have won the championship. They just got past Milwaukee. That's all it would have taken, was getting past Milwaukee. But yeah, in terms of the effort, the passion, how much they gave a crap, like, man, you can't, as a fan, you can't ask for any more than that.
And obviously the pain of losing sucks, but that's what makes them, because they're going to win a championship. They have to. They are. They have to. I agree, and that's going to make when they win that much better. But
I hate that though, because I thought that before with teams. I thought that. I remember when the Yankees lost in 2017. I was like, oh, we'll be back. Guess what? We haven't been back. The 2012 Devils never went back. The 2010 Jets never went back.
I understand.
No, listen to me. You never know. You don't know you'll be back. You could think it. All the chips may align that say you should be back, but guess what? Most of the time, you don't get back. And when you have these opportunities, you have to capitalize. You have to capitalize, because if you don't know if it's ever going to happen again. I've seen it too many freaking times, and that's a great segue into the most painful losses of my sports lifetime. I might as well go first now, since I'm on a freaking tangent right now.
Go.
I'll start with number 10, and I'll go down to 1, and then we'll see how our lists compare here. I have 10, you have 7. Number 10 for me is 2004. The New Jersey Nets losing in 7 games to the Pistons in the second round. That's that was probably my peak Nets fandom before this year, when I was just every game, as you being 11 years old, you're irrational. You're so invested. Every loss is literally kills you. And the Nets had a 3-2 lead in that series, lost games 6 and 7. I remember I'll never forget watching the Game 5 triple overtime game. That's won 127-120. Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups had a crazy shot at halftime at half court to beat.
Is that the half quarter?
Yeah, that was the half quarter from Billups.
I didn't have that. That game was great.
And then they lost the last 2 games. But man, that team, because that was basically the end of that team's championship window. Because after that, they never got that close again with that core group players. Because Kenny and Martin left after that year, and it was never the same after that. Number 9 is the 2009 AFC Championship game for the Jets against the Colts. They had a lead. They were up 17-6 in the first half, let it slip away. And you just had a feeling going into halftime, holy crap, this is really going to happen. This is really going to happen. And then Peyton Manning just came in the second half and just bulldozed us for the entire half. Number 8 is the New Jersey Devils losing the 2012 Cup Finals to the Los Angeles Kings. We lost the first 2 games in overtime. If we win one of those 2 games, we win the series. One of those first 2 games, the Devils are Stanley Cup champions in 2012. Didn't end up happening. Number 7 is the 2003 Yankees losing to the Marlins, because that team, after beating the Red Sox like that, and to not come away with a championship, that really, really hurt. And the Yankees were so much better than the Marlins that year, and to have that slip away was really, really hard to swallow. Number 6 is the 2019 Yankees. All the chips lined for that team. That was, they really had bought in under Boone, something you really can't say for this year's team. They had every reason to win the championship, and to see them lose after LeMahieu tied it in Game 6 in the 9th inning on the infamous Altuve home run was really, really hard. Number 5 is the 2017 Yankees. Those 3 straight wins in the Bronx were all-time epic, and then they go back to Houston and just to score like 1 run in 2 games. That was really, really deflating. That 2017 team, they were the hottest team in baseball, and they should have won the championship, and that was really, really tough. Number 4, as we just covered, is the Nets-Bucks Game 7. This Nets team, they should win a championship. Who knows if we'll ever get this close again. You think they'll win a championship, but who knows? You never know if they'll be back. And to think that the Nets were this close. I never thought they were going to win a championship in my lifetime, and to see it end like that, it's going to stick with me forever. Number 3 is the 2010 AFC Championship game against the Steelers. They needed one stop at Big Ben beat us on 4th down, and that was the game there. And the Jets have never made the playoffs since. Number 2 is the Yankees losing Game 7 in the 2001 World Series. And number 1 is the 2004 Yankees, which I don't really want to talk about. What's your list?
All right, so we have a lot of games that overlap. My order may be a little off here as I re-look at it, but I added one. I forgot one, as you mentioned, so I'm not going to tell you which one it is, but I'll start. Number 8 was Deshaun Jackson's walk-off punt return against the Giants.
Oh, my God.
And that was just, you thought you had the game wrapped up. You're playing the Eagles. I hate the Eagles. Matt Dodge punts it away, and then time stopped. And next thing you know, Deshaun Jackson, 63 yards to the house. I'm speechless. That was just a miserable way to lose. Number 7, when Emerson men's basketball lost to MIT in the playoffs, my senior year to end my collegiate career. That sucked. We don't have to go into that too much. Number 6, the Giants 2017 loss to the Packers in the playoff after the infamous boat picture. The Giants actually played really, really well, and then OBJ dropped a pass in the end zone that would have given the lead. After that, the Packers ran away. The game was horrendous. That was Bob McAdoo's, the end of his glory days as a Giants head coach. That was miserable. Let's see. I also have the 2001 World Series when Luis Gonzalez hit the walk-off. That was not fun. The 3 Yankee ones are all tied together. The 04 Game 7 loss to the Sox, and then the Altuve home run in 2019. That sucked. Frank, I don't know exactly where the Nets might be number 1 for me.
Wow.
And let me tell you why. So I was in New Orleans this weekend, and I'm on Bourbon Street for the game, and I don't even know what bar we're at. Like the bar, whatever one, had a TV, and for 3 quarters it was pretty much just me and the people I was there with watching the game. And in the 4th quarter, people started seeing, oh, it's a close game, it's close. They're coming over, they're watching. The next thing you know, there's about 15, 20 people in the corner of a bar on Bourbon Street watching this game, like living and dying with every made basket, every miss. There were Bucks fans, there were Nets fans, not real or not, but there were people rooting for the Bucks and people rooting for the Nets, and friendly jawing back and forth. And for Durant to hit that shot and me to go absolutely wild, even though I knew it wasn't a 3.
Oh, you knew it wasn't a 3.
It was close enough, but I thought this was on the line. But even still, he made the shot. I'm on Bourbon Street, had a drink or two, going. I mean, I lost my mind. It was awesome. And to see him do that, to then come back, to score first in overtime, seemingly have all the momentum, and then just not score again. And then to see Milwaukee not score for 3 minutes, but Brooklyn only be up by 2 points. And then to see Milwaukee take a 2-point lead. Then the Nets miss. And they come back and have a chance. And to have Durant get to his spot, shoot the ball, airball it, and have it land out of bounds at 0.3 seconds. And there's a video. I'll send you the video. When we post this, Frankel, we could add in the video of this happening. My friend I had no idea it was being recorded. My friend recorded, hoping to get a happy reaction. They said it's the most broken I've ever been. But it didn't feel real. Like it was
surreal. Seeing Durant, he didn't. I thought it was like there's no way he airballed. It must have been the play.
And I was like, okay, did I have more to drink than I thought I did? And like, am I hallucinating? Like no, it just, the atmosphere, it was so cool to be there when he made it to send it to overtime, and just so demoralizing. And yeah, it's probably recency bias, but I'm not kidding. I was so invested in this Nets team, and I planned a day in New Orleans around, we had to eat dinner before the Nets game. I told you I was going to eat during the first half. No, we changed it. We ate before the Nets. I planned a night on Bourbon Street around watching the Nets. Like, that's how invested I was. Some of the Yankees games, like 2004, it sucks, but I was still 11 years old. Like, it's not like I was as invested as I am now. And if the Nets game 7 isn't won, it's 2 or 3, and it's just not the way it was supposed to end. And that's what I'll never get over. It's not the way it was supposed to end.
I mean, it's like I said, absolutely devastating when I really looked like there was no. I mean, everything was aligning. There was no LeBron and AD in our way. Joel Embiid, the Sixers were really not themselves. Every hurdle that seemingly was in our path was gone. And the worst part about it is the Bucks aren't even that good. Like, Giannis is like,
They're not that good. You're not that good. They're not.
Like, the Bucks may end up winning the title because they're the healthiest team, but like, will this make me believe that Giannis is like one of the pantheon guys in the history of the league? No, absolutely not. I just feel like he got lucky. This was whoever wins the title this year, unless it's like the Suns, I'll view it as like, man, they just got lucky. And
you said one last thing on the Nets real quick. The crowd counting.
Game 7. The amount of like star power in that arena. You had Eli Manning. You had the whole Yankee team was there in a box watching the game. There were a couple like rappers there, and Travis Scott was there. It was it was just like, it was the place to be. It was like, I had never seen like the Nets be like the center of town like that. It was really a spectacle. It was like, it made us like, damn, like we just advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, Brooklyn would have been the center of the basketball universe, and now the ratings it might be the lowest rated Eastern Conference Finals of all time.
Yeah, but it was cool to see. When Giannis was shooting free throws, you could hear the crowd chant, like through the TV, which I thought was awesome. And just, I don't know if this is a turning point for Brooklyn, but it felt like for the first time, Brooklyn got the respect that they deserved from the New York City basketball crowd. Will they ever be the Knicks? Nah, they'll never be the Knicks. But it felt like instead of being option A and option D, they got moved up to option B now. And I think that is a monumental step in Brooklyn, establishing some grassroots fans in New York City. Like, the younger generation sees Brooklyn in this situation. I guess the Knicks made the playoffs this year too, but they've been bad forever. I just thought, shout out to the crowd, shout out to all the real Brooklyn fans out there, the real Net fans who have been OGs with us, Frank, since the days of Sheldon Williams and Jordan Farmar and Deshaun Stevenson running pick and rolls. We have come so far. And I can't believe that we don't have a game to look forward to tomorrow night. I really cannot believe that tomorrow night I don't have basketball that's appointment television.
If they were playing the Hawks, I'd be there. I'd be there on Wednesday night. I would be in the building, and that is without a shadow of a doubt, I would have tried to make as many conference finals games and finals games as my schedule would have entailed. And man, I'll never get over it the rest of my life. And the scary part is, like, we have next year with this team, and who knows what it'll look like a year after that. So, I mean, next year, we'll see. Assuming that Durant and Harden get through the freaking Olympics healthy. I mean, my God. I mean,
we have. I texted you as soon as I saw that, Frank.
There's no way it ends well. There's no way.
I'm speechless, and I know Durant loves playing, but like, KD, please, for the love of goodness gracious and that whatever is holy mighty, please come back from Tokyo unscathed, please. Anyway, another thing, I know there's a shorter summer because the bubble and all that, but Durant didn't play, yada 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 yada. All these dudes who are complaining about having a short off season, it's not what Tokyo is going to make it a short off season. I'm terrified. I'm literally terrified.
Just get out healthy. I mean, because if I have to deal with like a James Harden torn ACL or torn Achilles, or Kevin Durant re-tears his ACL or tears his Achilles, like, and they're out the whole next season, like, I mean, I don't know what I'll do. I just want this team to be healthy next year, and let's just see what they are full season healthy. And if they lose, I'll tip my cap. But I just want to see the team at full strength. And if we go down with our best guys out there, then there's only so much you can do. But that's all I ask for. Just be one season with this team, and let's see what they can do. And because you'll never know when you're going to have this opportunity again. And man, I was going to get a tattoo if the Nets won. I had all these plans if the Nets would have won.
Get a tattoo?
Yeah, I mean, if the Nets just ever win a championship, getting a tattoo. That's
Where are you gonna get it?
I mean, we'll have to see once it's there, but it's happening. But I don't even want to talk about anything else. That'll do it for this edition of Lucas and Lucas podcast. Man, we'll see you guys.
We'll be happier next week. We promise.
Take care, everybody.